Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this little intro for episode 8 of Gabbin with Gavin. I am Gavin. Thanks to everybody who has tuned in today, who's watched any of the episodes so far. I haven't really done an intro like this since episode 1, so I just wanted to pop on here real quick, tap in, as they say, and let you guys know that I really appreciate everybody who has tuned in, caught an episode, listened to it, watched on YouTube. Anybody who's liked the page or subscribed or anything, it really means a lot. If you're checking this out now and you haven't already, so maybe hit the subscribe button on the YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps me out a ton. Would appreciate that a lot. Want to give a shout out to 1990 Studios, where we're at right now doing the recording. Our other studio, Toronto Podcast Studios, and to Ross and Laura of Toronto Podcast Studios, who do all the edits for the podcast. All the really cool videos and pictures and stuff you see thrown in. They take care of all that and really make the podcast great. Episode 8 is going to be cool. We got a super, super awesome guest for this one, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He is a NBA player. He's the shooting guard with the New Orleans Pelicans, a Canadian guy who's really doing it big in the league right now. He's a super nice guy. It was really cool for him to take time out to talk to us on the podcast. A huge thank you to all the guests we've had so far. It's been really cool for me doing this. Got to talk to some really awesome people. Been super enjoyable. And let's not going to take up too much of your guys' time. Let's keep it rolling. And this is episode 8 of Gabbin with Gavin.
Welcome to Gabbin with Gavin.
Gavin Clark is one of the co-owners of Vintage 905 and joins us. Hello, Gavin.
Gavin Clark has been selling vintage clothing in downtown Whitby for over 3 years.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to, this is going to be episode 8 of the Gabbin with Gavin podcast. We have a super special guest joining us today. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He is the shooting guard for the New Orleans Pelicans. Super psyched having you here, man. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, this is great. We've known each other for a little bit now through the store, and I'm going to give you an unofficial title now, nicest guy in the NBA.
I appreciate that a lot.
We got to be right up there, dude. Thanks so much for joining us today. Things are going awesome for you right now. You've just been killing it your last little bit. Some opportunities have come your way, be it through trades and whatever else, where you've got to really step up in your role, and you're really taking advantage of all your opportunities. Can you kind of tell us about that?
Honestly, it's kind of just been a roller coaster ride, to say the least. From being in literally one of the hardest years just because of the virus, playing every other day, and then also going from 3 different roles, to come out the bench, to starting, to not playing at all. At least 2 to 3 different times this year I've seen it. So I just think being able to just remain consistent, just stay ready, and just trust myself, honestly, knowing when I do get the opportunity, I want to make the most out of it. When you get a feeling of not playing and seeing close games and not being able to help your team to your best ability, you never want to be in that position. So once I finally got opportunities, I just started to learn how to take advantage of it and trust my craft and the fact that I work so hard and that it will come, and it has.
That's awesome, man. It is great seeing you take advantage of these opportunities and doing so well. I want to go all the way back and just talk about your entire career and how you got started. Do you remember the first time you touched a ball, you started playing ball?
It was, for me, I would say early on. My first Fisher Price, and that probably was when I was 2 or 3. I've had a basketball before I could remember. That's for sure. And one thing about it was my mom knew I was gonna play, and that was fine with me because I love the game and I never wanted to stop. It's to a point where it was a burden on everyone else. I lived in an apartment building, and literally would play all hours in the day. And my downstairs neighbor would be Like, all you hear is the ball bouncing. All you hear is the ball bouncing. And I was fortunate to have a mom who supported my dreams and supported me playing basketball. So whenever they got mad at me, like, she'd be there, like, to defend me, to back me up. And I think that's what kind of revved up my love for the game. It was just the fact that she was always there to support me through it all. And, like, from being too small to touch the rim, and then being too tall to really, like, play in the building, basketball has just been my thing and my love. And my uncle always taught me, like, the work ethic part was going to get me there. And once I knew I could play basketball forever, that's what I wanted to do. And I was willing to do dang near anything just to make it. And I think the passion just kind of drove from being young with my mom and my uncle always there to support.
Incredible, man. We've met your mom at the store, and she's just an incredible lady. So shout out to her, man. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, she always asks me all the time, like, "Oh, do you need anything from the store? You know, I can go pick them up and send it over to you."
Well, that's so great, man. Well, we'll have to make sure she sees this when this is all done. So when you were younger and you started playing, like, as long as you can remember, do you remember your first sort of teams? Like, did you stand out right away? Like, obviously, right? Like, did you start to know, okay, like, I'm very good at this?
So when I was 5, I started Raptor ball. And that's like an OG thing. Like, I don't know if they even still do that, but I remember being 5 playing with it was me and, like, one of my closest friends at the time. And I remember beating the 6-year-old team, and we went nuts. Like, we won, like, the OBA provincial. That, like, it was the most ecstatic feeling I've had in basketball. And then I went 3 years just playing around, like, house leagues and just trying to find open things. And everyone along the time just kept telling my mom, "You should put him in OBA, or you should make him join a team." But we didn't really know much about it. My uncles never really played growing up outside of just for fun on the court. So I was 8 years old when I tried out for the Scarborough Blues team. And I remember right before the tryouts, my mom told me, you know, you're younger than these guys. It's early. If you don't make the team, it's okay. You can come back next year. And in my head, I was like, I was too young to take in the advice she was giving me. For me, it was like, I'm making this team. I don't know what you're talking about. I ended up making the 2 team, and that 2 team had Justin Jackson, me, my cousin, my uncle was the assistant coach. Coach Devon Jones was my first basketball coach. He's with the Ace now. And it was like probably the most fun I've had. Just the tournaments, when I got my first pair of Kobe's for Christmas. Like, there's so many memories tied to that. And it's just been, like, something that came second nature because I put so much love and passion into it. And I guess a lot of it was God-given talent as well, but it was so much of it that I couldn't pinpoint it to just one thing, you know?
Oh, that's awesome. There is a lot of talent, like, obviously a lot of natural talent, but you're an extremely hard worker. It's kind of always been a cornerstone of your career. When you were for your high school basketball career, you actually moved from Canada.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I played at Vaughan, and I remember after I got my first scholarship to New Mexico State, I was in Indiana at a tournament. Coach Paul Weir was there. He was the assistant coach at the time. And there's rules that they have when you're too young. They can't really talk to you until you reach a certain age. So I remember being in a parking lot, and they were talking to my coaches. And then they just said, yeah, like, we want to offer him a scholarship. And I remember at the time, it was funny because a year before that, I was probably the most picked on the team. Like, was probably 5'7", didn't play much. Everyone else probably thought I would be not last, but one of the later guys to get a scholarship out of everyone on the team, probably coaches included. But all I did was just work. Like, I remember coming hours early before practice, being the earliest one there, setting up cones in the gym, just doing drills, trying to be the last one to leave the gym. Like, that was just who I was. And once I knew that I could get a scholarship, I was like, this is like a dream come true. So I started writing a list. I wrote a list of every team I wanted to go to. Every team I wanted a scholarship from. I wrote like my top 5 down. And then I had like on the side like a checklist. Like, one said, did they have interest in me? And then the other was, did they offer me? So once I had left Vaughn to go to St. Louis Christian, that's when I started playing on a national schedule, getting more exposure, and that's when the list started to be from interest to offers, and started slowly seeing it grow. And then going into AAU and having that summer camp of All-American. And I would credit it to Canada Elite being on the Under Armour circuit as well. That did help getting that exposure from like a sponsorship and playing in like a sponsored league, having coaches just there at will. And that boosted our exposure to so many other schools, Virginia Tech, USC, Baylor, Providence, Illinois, Cincinnati, Texas, Florida State. Like, it was slowly starting to come in and roll in. And it was just to a point where I knew, like, I had something here and I got to keep working. So then I went to Hamilton Heights with Shai, and it was, like, probably one of the best decisions I've ever made for my life.
6'5" senior, number 1, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Starting at guard, a 6'5" senior, number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Playing with him, like, being in America, you have family. So, you know, you're not completely on your own playing a national schedule, and you're beating good teams. So when we went to City of Palms, we went there as like, you know, who are these guys? Like, okay, they might be all right, you know. Never really heard of them. Hamilton Heights, from like a small town in Tennessee, and you got all these big names. I remember actually Zoe was in the tournament too, RJ, Montverde. So like, these guys already had their name. They had the sold out gyms, and we just came in and won our side of the tournament. And somehow I remember beating Mo Bamba, Don Maker's team, and then people slowly started to respect us. So that's when like the ESPN and stuff came in.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible, man. You guys had a lot to prove.
Oh yeah, a ton.
So let me ask you this: how old were you when you left Vaughn and went over to and you moved to the States?
I was 16.
16.
I had
That's
to beg my
incredible.
mom. She was not.
That must,
not
of
going for
course.
it.
16 is like, when you look back now, that must feel so young, dude, to be going out on your own and what, like to pack up and just leave, that to chase your dream, like, and then to see where you are now. It's crazy, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when I first got to St. Louis, I remember arriving at the school and I was like, yeah, I want to go home. Like, I just missed it already. Like, I missed home. And I was like one where I felt weird sleeping like outside of like a family member's house. So now knowing like, yo, this is where I'm sleeping forever. And at 16, like, I knew it, but it didn't set in that I would be going home. And every time I came back home, I was visiting. So it was no longer like, yeah, I'm just back at home now. Like, this is for vacation. This is for, and this would change my life forever. But I was just thinking, nah, this is something that I just want to do to like make it. Mm-hmm. But that decision held so much weight in time. But I knew leaving, like, if I'm leaving, I'm sacrificing a lot. So there is no turn. There's no way I'm going to leave home, leave my mom, leave my grandmother, be on my own and not make it. Like, it was to a point where I was more focused and more determined because I felt like my whole life was at stake.
Mm-hmm. So you took the unknown, the fear even, and used it as motivation. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
You got to you and Shai room together at the time too, right?
Yeah. So I wasn't even supposed to go to the school. I was supposed to be in San Diego with DeAndre Ayton at Balboa. And Shai said he was going there and kind of talked to me about the school. So I kind of like learned more about it. And then I talked to Coach Zach, who he lived with. And at the time, I had came late. So Abu, that Shai you played with, was supposed to go to Coach Zach's house and live with Shai. And I was supposed to live with Theron. And I think me and Shai being closer and Theron and Abu being closer, I think somehow someone has just asked, like, do you mind if we switch? It wasn't even me. And it worked out because I was thinking it, but I'm like, I'm the last guy here. I can't just go making demands and asking questions. But it worked out for, like, the better. And then me and Shai ended up sharing a room. And Coach Zach used to take our phones at night, and we would stay up all night talking, like practicing interviews, talking about what we'll do if we made it. And it's cool to see it come to work.
Incredible. Yeah, so anybody not sure, your cousin is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's another NBA player. So you're talking about you guys, rooming together, doing interviews and that, and now you've played against each other in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like what a crazy, like you've literally seen your dreams come true, man. Like the stuff you guys were talking about 15, 16.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, knowing like we've wanted this since we were kids. And this is when we were kind of getting into trading cards. And we used to be like, man, like we would have like a slam magazine. It would be LeBron or it'd be D-Wade. And in the time, it was Kobe or LeBron. Everyone used to get in a fight about that. But like the way me and Shai thought was, like one day we want to make it to where people are fighting over us.
Amazing.
And it's kind of cool, like to see him doing so well, to see him get drafted, kind of felt like me. And knowing that I wanted that for myself, it was like, and possible for myself, it motivated me even more to make it and to do well. And for both of us now to kind of found our way and started to pave our own paths, like it's a truly dream come true, but also a blessing, and like all glory to God for that.
Did it help with your transition in that, seeing him do it? It was the year before you went in the league, right?
Yeah.
Seeing that must have helped. Not made it, I don't want to say easier, but it'd make it more like
you believe that it's possible because it's someone that you grow up with. So you see them do what you've talked about doing, like the unknown in a sense. So once you see it happen, you're like, okay, I can do this too.
With the 11th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton, Canada, and the University of Kentucky.
And I was nervous because I'm like, oh man, I don't want that window to close on me. The one thing I would say that kind of helped me was like, I never once thought that the NBA was just going to come.
Mm-hmm.
I was always on edge, like, oh man, like I want to make it. Like, is my window closing? So I seen sophomore year as like a year that even pushed me to a whole new level after seeing him make it. Like, just working out more, taking a whole different approach to the game, trying to make sure that my window doesn't close, that it's possible and you can see it happen, but this is something in life that you got to make happen. And this is something that, requires a lot of initiative and putting yourself out there and just being 100% confident. One thing about Shai that like, I admire and like actually look up to is just his confidence. He's always been if he wants to do it, he's just gonna try it. I'm more on the conscientious side of what happens. I'm an overthinker, so like to see him just go dive right in. I'm a feet first kind of guy, but that helps me because it's like there's times in life where you do gotta just make that jump.
I do think, you know, everybody's kind of their own toughest critic in that. But I think just from like watching you, hearing announcers, and seeing your interviews and that, I'd say confidence is definitely a term people use to describe you a lot as well. You show a lot of confidence out on the court. Let me.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I just wanted to say like, you were talking about old slam magazines like with LeBron and that. When you line up against somebody like that, like when you're on the court and you know you're face to face with somebody like LeBron, where do you find like the confidence to just to you know?
I think it's just a lot of nerves before the game. So that like one thing about me is I've been nervous before every game I've ever played in. And the only thing that kind of calms me down is like it just means I care. And I've learned to like not fight the nerves and not have to try to turn it around. In a sense, I just use it to my advantage. I think my foundation in Christ helps where I'll say a prayer before every game to kind of calm me down, to put me in a place of no pressure. Like everyone, I believe, does their best when they don't feel pressure. You know, that moment of, you know, when you're alone behind closed doors, you feel like your best self. And that's how I try to approach the game. I try to see it from a standpoint of, okay, it's just me being me, doing what I love, taking it back to 20 Stonehill Court where I was just a kid shooting on a Fisher-Price net, taking it back to Scarborough Blues days, Yates days, novice, just going out there having fun, knowing it was all a dream and that I always wanted to do it. But for now, I'm in the moment of playing. Nothing stops me. I feel invincible. And I think that's what it was, just taking it back and having great teammates also, having great circle. I mean, from top to bottom, from when it started with my mom and my grandmother to moving on up to even having Shai, to having my agents, my trainer, and like even the small people that have come into my life since entering the league, Zion, B.I., my girlfriend, like all of that has been like a big help because they keep me in that space. There's so many things that come along the way that kind of bounce you around, but they keep me in the space of knowing who I am and being who I am. And it's crazy because I don't feel like the most confident guy, but when I play, it's like what exudes the most. And it's just crazy how God works.
And you know that you've also put in the work too, right? Like
Yeah.
You've done everything you can before the game, and the game's just a time to kind of have fun, right? Show your skills. And
Exactly.
do you still find basketball to be like the same game you played as a kid? Is it still fun for you every day?
It is. It is. You know, you have your grueling days where it's like, bro, I'm completely sore, completely beat up. I mean, it's the best job in the world, in my opinion. You know, like it couldn't get any better. So, like you take what comes with it. You take the busy schedule, you take the flights, and you just make the most out of it. You don't fear what's to come. You just say, you know what? It is what it is, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna be me, not really stress, and take away the love because I know there's gonna be a time where I'm 45 and I'm gonna miss it. So I want to make the most of every moment.
I want to jump back around everything, but you kind of mentioned something interesting there. What do you see yourself doing after basketball? When you are 45, right? Like you're very like you're very animated, like very got a great personality. You could be a commentator. Like, do you see yourself doing something like that?
I need to take a break for a little bit. I
Yeah.
think that's the one thing. My whole life at that point will have been basketball. And if it goes the way I'd like it to, I would be only known for basketball. So, like, when you think of me, all you're going to know is basketball. And I want to be able to take a step back to, be Nickeil the person, which I've never really done outside of, like, off days. You just do what you like, which is fashion, and look up vintage stuff. And, like, I'm a big hat guy. And that's where it first started with you guys, like the hats and the tees. And then kind of going from there, and you're just in a whirlwind of going through the motions because everything happens so fast. So I think at retirement, I want to be able to just take a step back, hopefully have kids, and be a father that, like, I unfortunately never really had, and be able to, like, teach my kids life lessons and just enjoy life as a normal person, not the athlete, not anything but Nickeil.
Maybe play ball with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Time to time until they start winning one-on-one.
Oh, that's awesome, man. You did touch on something I wanted to jump into, so let's get right into it, man. You are an incredibly fashionable guy. You're always all over league fits. You and Shai, what's some of your some of your fashion inspirations? Like, was there anybody, basketball players before, or anybody in general you saw dress and you like their style, or where does your style come from?
I would say it's my older cousin. And I give this credit to him. Before not matching became a thing, before contrast became a thing, this man is the only guy I've ever seen step out in something outside, different, and make it look good. Like, everyone would do the same thing, like, if it was a trend, it was in. Like, he came with Quay 54, Jordan 5s, when everyone was doing, like, lining up for release dates. He was already on a whole different level of shoes, like having the 01 breads instead of the 2011s, like, when they come out. Like, just being years ahead of the game, and to see it come to light now, like, it came from him. Like, he was the flyest guy I knew. I looked up to him. Like, he was the coolest person to me, like, sense of humor. He was confident in who he was. Like, everything at the time that I wasn't, that's because, like, I want to be like him. I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy's so cool. Like, just the way he dressed, and he was confident in himself. And I give it a lot to my older cousin, Jaden. And it started because of him. And now it's turned into, like, to this, where I kind of took it into my own thing and kind of found what works for me, and the confidence part. And it's like an Alexander thing. That's what we kind of joke about. Like, our family is into appearance and the confidence and how you wear your stuff. And it can be it's not what you have on. It's how you wear what you have on that makes us feel and come across as stylish.
Well, absolutely, dude. Yeah, you every time we see you rocking a fit, it's something crazy, man. So it's awesome. How many pairs of shoes would you say you got now?
I try to keep it to a small number. Like, I say small number, but I try to keep it under 150.
Okay.
So, like, because I know I'm not going to be wearing everything, and I know I can't get to it all. And there's some that will sit there and sit there and sit there. So right now I'm trying to stick to 150, or as much as each shelf I have can hold. And then probably, like, when I move out or get a house or something, then I'll probably expand to 300 or whatever the case may be. But
Yep.
Right now it's about 150, but I make sure, one thing the perfect pair always said is wear your shoes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Always wear my shoes. There is no for display. There is no, well, if I hold it, they'll go up in value. To me, that's not my thing. I don't see them as stocks. I see them as my kids. Like, I love each and every pair, and I feel bad when I don't wear one. I feel like they feel neglected almost, like, kind of thing.
It's like
Weird
you're already
obsession.
it's like you're already a dad, man.
Yeah.
You're a shoe dad. That's hilarious. What's in the rotation right now? What's your favorite shoe right now?
Favorite shoe. One that I really liked that I didn't think I was going to was the neutral grays that released.
Mhm.
And they came, so when they retro 85, it just doesn't look the way it's supposed to. But I started wearing it so much, and I wore it to the airport, and I was pushing the suitcase, and the suitcase kept like hitting the lace, hitting the toe, scuffing it. And then the more I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
They look better broke in.
yeah, like when you wear them in. So I'm like, you know what, let me just wear these in. And they started looking better and better to me. The Off-White 5s, the sales, I don't know why, but I've
Yes.
been loving them. I had to like get a second pair so I can do like a black lace in one and a sail lace in the other. Trophy rooms. I had
Yep,
to do two
beautiful.
of those. The Supreme Dunks I recently just got. So for this trip, I brought a pair of Olivier Converse, the Bankroot Brown Supreme Dunks, and the trophy rooms.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I wore the UNCs just cause. But as far as like fours go now, I'm starting to like see a transition where I'm like, you know, casual days I go with the fours. Jeans, you can see like a dunk. You can see like a pair of ones. Like some cargos, I'll probably throw on like a pair of the forces. Just trying to like switch the flow and the trend. Because I think fours are like a crazy shoe you can beat. And it looks amazing. And then when you got sweats and then the vintage tees. And then from there, like I just go into this tornado of fits. Like I just see it and then it just pumps together.
Oh man. Well, that's so cool. You got to be one of the best dressed guys in the league easily, man. It's cool to see it. It's awesome seeing anytime, you know, something from us. It really gets us excited. And man, we have people come in all the time talking about like stuff they've seen you wear, and it's really cool, man.
Yeah, so the story of like you guys, I was in Toronto with my boy KD, and I was like, yo, I need vintage shirts. Like I need like some old vintage tees. Like I can't find any. And we had a boy we went to school with named Sam.
Mhm.
And he had posted because we knew he had a store, so we went to the store. He had posted they had like this crazy sample polo hoodie that was like split. And I had gotten it at the time. And this was like one of my first big purchases out of college. This is when like $300 was like, whoa. Like, I just spent $300 on something. Like, that's crazy.
Mhm.
And I remember seeing the DM from you guys, and I was like looking on the pictures. I'm like, oh, that's legit. Like, this
Mhm.
isn't like no like basic DM. Like, I'm seeing some real heat here. And I was like, yeah, I got to get to the store. And then when I came and I seen the Bret Hart and I seen
Man.
all the wrestling tees, I was like, I found something. Like, this is a diamond in the rough right here. And then the hats. And I was like, what? It felt almost every month I was trying to get something from you guys. Rookie year. It was cool like to come and have you guys in the debut when we came to Toronto and then come to a hotel. Like I remember like me and Frank Jackson had talked about our love. And then Frank was like, yo, I got to see this store. Like, I got to get something from here because it's crazy.
Oh man, that was such a great day for us.
No, it was exciting. It was exciting for me as well.
That's something I really wanted to get into because like this is a crazy story, man. A kid from Toronto, like you grew up, made it to the NBA. Your opening game is against the Raptors in Toronto.
Alexander-Walker, pretty pass for Okafor. Got him on the hop.
In front of all friends and family, dude. Can you take us through that experience, man? Like, that's incredible.
Honestly, it was probably one of the most stressful days to organize. Because I'm like trying to get to, okay, how am I going to get these people tickets? How am I going to get this tickets? You only get 2 on the road. I had about 62. So for every other ticket you get, you got to buy one. Fortunately, I had people that didn't have anyone in Toronto. So they was like, all right, you know what? I'll give you my tickets. I'll just look out for you when it's your city. So like, more and more dudes started giving me their tickets. So I was able to rest for about like 20-something tickets. But I still had to pay for like 40 other. And it's opening night after they won. So not only is it like lower deck like 1,500 or some crazy number, I'm like, bro. But it was like I sat in my hotel room before the game. I was like, there's no way. Like there's no way this is real. Like I'm really like I did it, you know, like it's something that doesn't set in because part of me is so goal-oriented and goal-driven that it was making it was so cool, but it was beyond that. It's like being the best, you know, and I couldn't let it sit in till like I guess this year where I kind of learned the importance of it, where it was like, wow, I finally did it. You know, like I understand now that I gotta appreciate each blessing as it comes. And so having a game in Toronto was, I mean, words can't even speak the weight it holds to see my mom there, to sit courtside too, which was the best feeling. Like to have her, give her a hug right before the national anthem. Like it doesn't get any better than that.
Incredible. Would that be the only time that you came to Toronto? Because of the next season was the bubble, correct?
Yeah.
And then you only played the one game that season.
Yeah,
That would be the only time you got to play here,
They
right?
moved to Tampa, so
Yeah.
yeah. I'd like to have that
Yes.
game back though, but I mean it'll come again.
It'll come again, absolutely. Yeah, dude, it'll be great when everything's back rolling and you had all your friends and family back out.
Yeah, for sure.
We miss it here, man. It's crazy. It's been a weird couple. You've seen it all. I mean,
Yeah.
you did you're a full season, a full crowd, and then the bubble seat. Like, what was Can you tell us a little bit about the bubble? Like that must have been that's a season people will be talking about forever.
The bubble was unlike anything before. It was the extended version of an AAU camp or like anything like I've ever been to, like I don't even know how to explain, like a All-American camp or Nike Academy. That's what it felt like. Practice, go to a hotel, chill, get tested. You don't hang out with anyone. The security felt like every 12 steps. So you scanned in to get into a building. You had to do an app to like kind of say like, oh, you don't feel sick, you don't feel bad, like everything's fine. You had to test every day. You had to scan out of a building. And if it didn't go green, you had to go back, fill out the questionnaire, all this stuff. And then as you walk from building to building, there's like every 10 steps a security guard. And it wasn't until like a certain point where they allowed you to see other people in other hotels. It was a strictly basketball version of Fort Knox. Like super locked down, super strict, hoop, don't do anything else. But they did do a good job of like giving us like a pool and like you can go fishing, which is cool. But anything else outside of your hotel was quiet.
Speaking of like fishing and stuff like that, what do you do for fun, man, in the off time, like in your in between games or even like in the off season? What does Nickeil do for fun other than buying shoes and vintage?
Man, see, that's therapeutic right there.
Yes, yeah, you know, at the top of your-
That's all therapeutic. I guess for fun, I'm trying to get into more stuff. High school, I did do fishing. Chattanooga did a lot of fishing. I caught like a catfish one time, like a big one, and I remember holding it up in a picture, and it was on my hoodie. When I get back home, and the hoodie's like slimed out just from the fish. Like, fishing is cool. Like, I have done it before. I do like it. It's peaceful. It's quiet. Now it's like I'm down for bowling. Me and my boy 6K, like, we go bowling competitions. We did a driving range, golf.
Okay.
Oh, I'm terrible, but it's fun. Like, we did that. That was cool. There's a lot that, like, I'm starting to just like do random stuff. Like, high school, we did laser tag.
I was gonna say you must get a lot of like opportunities to try stuff in all these different cities and
Yeah.
like places that you wouldn't have gone to and stuff that maybe wouldn't have been on your radar before.
Probably wouldn't have, but now it has been. And like, there's stuff like anytime I get to do something that makes you feel normal, I'm all for it.
So you've been blessed like with some really great teammates. Like your rookie season, Zion was also a rookie. Jackson Hayes. I know he wasn't a rookie as well, but like you and Frank were really tight. What's the team vibes kind of like? You guys are all very close.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's rare to say in the league, but they're family. Look at their family. Like, they're brothers. Like, and it's hard because you don't really get a chance to do that with trades, and some guys, like, get in. It's like all about themselves, and but there's no egos. They want to see you shine just as much as they want to shine. They're all for you. Like, they support you, and like, you can go to them with problems, and like, all those guys you mentioned, even more on the team, was someone I can say, yo, I'm having a problem with this. And they would take the time to talk to me with it. They would come to me with their problems. We would talk, like, have real heart-to-heart conversations and, like, connect on levels that teams don't normally do, especially as a job. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, like, so many times in school, if I ever got in a fight with somebody, teacher would be like, oh, you're not always going to like someone you work with. And in this situation, it's like, I can't name someone I don't like that I work with. So it was really cool to have such a close group of guys in the league. To me, that's unheard of.
No, I love it, man. It seems like you guys have an awesome chemistry. I love seeing like when you guys do check-ins, see who's got what on the feed. It's just cool to see, man. It's an awesome group, and it's great seeing you guys have success, and it looks like things are going, nothing but up for you, man.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm very grateful for it. So that's a big thank you to everyone around my circle. Good.
Definitely. I know you're super busy, so I don't want to keep you too long. Let me ask you though. You mentioned it earlier in this podcast. You've really had ups and downs, from times where you weren't playing, times where you've started. What advice would you give to somebody who is it could be for anything, right? Like, they're just trying to chase their dreams. They're like a 16-year-old kid who's just moved away and is thinking about how they want to move home. They want to get out of wherever they are because they're scared. What advice would you give?
Whatever you're imagining, whatever your dream is, see it, but just know it's not how it's gonna go. That's the first thing. Like, you think, oh, G-Man coming to the league, rookie of the year, this, that, like, and not to like shoot anyone down, but understand, like, tough times are gonna come. And it's how you handle those tough times that will get you through. Like, remain consistent, because when you get through those tough times, everything you dreamed of, you can get. but it's not going to come the way you thought it was. Like, life doesn't work on your plans. Like, it plays itself out. And, like, being from a Christian family, like, my grandma always told me, like, God laughs at us when we plan. Like, you can have a goal, you can have a dream, you can work for it. But as to how you get there is never, you don't know. So you got to continue to work each day, just be consistent. Control what you can control. Each and every day, you're given the best you can to what you want to do in life. And if it's not what you want to do, don't give yourself to it. Like, it's too short to stretch yourself thin when you could be working towards something that will benefit you in the long run.
Awesome, man. That's great. It's super important because you are somebody who really has, chased their dream and got to live it out. You've played, you've had some great seasons now. You were in the NBA Rising Star Game, being at an All-Star weekend, man. Like, it's incredible to see.
It is.
Could you tell us a little bit about that quick? I don't want to keep you too long.
Are you good? I mean, hopefully, like, it was cool to make it again this year. Even though not having a game, but to know that I could have been in it again. So when I grew up, it being the rookie sophomore challenge and then playing like NBA Live before 2K was the thing, like, that was what you talked about, like, and then to be a part of that, especially to get voted in. In my situation, it was a little different. Like, I wasn't really playing as much. So to be voted in meant people seen something in me from what I've shown. And that kind of told me, if I can do it with just a little bit of opportunity, a little bit of light, imagine when, like, I'm not being, I don't want to say held back, but imagine when that opportunity is given. Imagine when I am allowed to shine the way I've worked and through hard work have gotten that opportunity and made it permanent. Then it kind of told me, like, sky's the limit for me. Like, there's nothing that I can't accomplish if I don't keep working. Like, slowly and surely, each goal, dream I've set out is coming to life. So it's giving me more and more confidence to continue to work and do what I'm doing.
Awesome, man. I think that's absolutely right, dude. I think sky is the limit for you. It's amazing seeing you take advantage of all these opportunities. And I personally owe you a thank you because I have you in my fantasy basketball league. So thanks for the points, man. It's been great.
Of course.
Nickeil, this was awesome, man. I'll let you get back to everything you got going on. Good luck the rest of the way this season. It was a pleasure talking to you and really appreciate you joining us on the podcast today.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.